Hello everyone. It's nice to see you again on TV. Today we'll learn about a boy who saved his mom. So today's topic is he did what he had to do. As usual before the class, I let you remember not to forget wash your hands, wear masks outside, clean your room, and stay at home. Today's learning objectives are work on the previous class student's job, and we'll read a text about a heroic action with confidence and enjoyment. We'll use 0, first, second, and third conditionals. Right, so have you prepared your book? Could you open the page number 143? You need your notebook and pen. Let's start it with the student's job that sent me. You should make a poster how to be a good citizen. The second homework was answering these 4 questions. Let you see. They sent me these beautiful colored posters, how to be a good citizen. I said everybody has different ideas. Everybody did very different jobs. You see, they look great. Thank you, my students. The first question was, who is hero? They answered different. Hero isn't the person who got sweet superpowers and strength. Hero is a person who always helps others and cares about everything. So that means everyone can be a hero. That's a very nice idea. Someone said, hero is someone who cares about others and helps you when you need it. Of course, if you need some help, somebody will help you. This is a hero. When I was a little kid, I thought hero is a human who has a superpower, but now I think hero is a good person who helps someone no matter who is she or he or it is. That's absolutely true. Every little child thinks hero is a superhero that has a superpower, but it's very different. In the real life, it's different. You see now. The second question was, can everyone be a hero? You see different answers under this question. Someone said all mothers are heroes. If everybody can help as much as they can, help can be hero. Of course, everyone can be a hero, but life is not going fair for them. Being hero depends on how you handle those things and how you being an exemplary man to others. That's interesting idea. As someone said, I don't think so. If everyone became a hero, there wouldn't be 4 heroes to do because there is no one to protect. Yes, it's kind of true, I think. The next question was, if someone bullies your classmate, what will you do? So my students answered like this. You can see the answers. I'll tell them that it is wrong, and if he or she does that again, I'll report them to police or principal. Of course, I will try to help him. For example, I will stand by him or tell about it to the teacher. They will tell to the teachers or principals. Someone said, I would probably ask what happened to them and why is he bullying him or her. If someone bullies the weak one for no reason, I would call the teacher. Yes, it's true. Just call your teacher if you see someone bully someone. Right, let's go on. The last question was, if you see a dog trapped, will you help it get out? I will help it get out because they can't get out by themselves. Yes, it's true. Of course, I will help it because every single life is precious and I really love animals. I will definitely help them get out. Wow, nice idea. Yes, first think about own safety. That's true. You should think about your safety first, then try to help the dog. Of course. A dog is a human friend. If I have the opportunity, I will help him escape. Wow, good. And some students said, no, I can't because I really don't like dog and I'm afraid of the dog. Wow, could be like that. I will give some food and help if I see a dog trapped. Okay, so in my opinion, if you see a dog trapped, could you help them, please, to get out of the trapping? Right. Right, so now let's read the text. It's on page number 145. You can find this text on exercise 18.
Hank and his brother, Isaac, were playing in the tree house when it began to sprinkle. I think we should go in the house, said Hank. It is about to storm, so the two boys climbed down the ladder and ran to the house. When they got into the kitchen, they grabbed a cookie from the plate and called their mum. Mum, Isaac yelled. It is starting to rain. As they entered the living room, they saw their mum lying on the floor. Hank, why is mum sleeping on the floor? Isaac asked his brother. Hank got on his knees beside his mum and he shook her and shouted, Mummy, wake up. She didn't answer, so Hank tried again. Isaac began to cry. Don't worry, Isaac. It will be okay, Hank said, but he had to think quickly. He was only 8 years old. What could he do? Hank was the oldest and he was the only one who could help.
Right, there is another one.
Then he remembered how Grandma used to play a game with him. She would pretend to be a 911 operator. She would ask him questions like, what is your name? Hank grabbed the phone and punched in the numbers 911. A lady answered the phone and asked, what is your emergency? Hank said, hello, my name is Hank Robinson. My mum is on the floor. She looks like she is sleeping, but I can't wake her up. Then the lady asked Hank all the questions he had practiced with Grandma. He remembered to speak loudly and clearly because it was important. If the lady did not understand him, she could not help Mummy. So again Hank took a deep breath and said, I live at 1203 Oak Street. In Madison. The lady on the phone told Hank not to hang up until someone came to his house and rang the doorbell. So Hank stayed on the phone and soon 2 firemen came to help. Hank let them in. When the lady on the phone it was safe. The men helped Mummy to wake up and then they gave Mummy some orange juice. Finally, she sat up and began to feel better. She smiled and thanked the firemen, and they told her that Hank was a hero, because he helped save his mum's life. Later, the firemen invited Hank to the fire hall. They gave him an award for being a hero, but Hank did not feel like a hero. He had been scared. He had been shaking. He just did what he had to do.
Right. So you you have read this text. It's very quite interesting. If you were Hank, what would you do? And what else? What could you do? If you have any ideas, just think and write on your notebooks. If you were Hank, what would you do? Hank saved his mom. You know, he was only 8 years old. Here are some ideas from you. If I were Hank, I would call 911. It's the best way to help his mom. If his grandma didn't teach him to call emergency, he would be scared and he would be in panic, like didn't know what to do. Right, it's very nice that his grandma taught him how to call emergency. Then I wouldn't know what should I do if I were Hank, because I'm only 8 years old. 8 years old is little kid, but Hank did, you know. And if Hank didn't call emergency, they would lose their mom forever. So sad, right? I would go to my neighbor and ask for help if I were Hank, right? If I were 8 years old, I would go to my neighbor to ask for help. And if the 2 firemen hadn't come on time, Hank's mom would have been in danger. That's absolutely true. If his grandma hadn't played with him, Hank wouldn't have been able to save his mother. So there's all that my students send their opinion. If you were Hank, what would you do? The answers are here. So let me see the verbs in bold. Can you see them? Every sentence consists of 2 parts. Right, let me describe the grammar structure. Go on. These are all conditional sentences. You know, the conditional sentences consist of 2 parts. And they all use 2 clauses separated by a comma. So 2 clauses and 1 comma. Second, they all use the conjunction if conjunction, to join 2 ideas together. Can you see the red one and the blue sentence? The red sentence is, if I studied hard. Blue sentence is, I would pass the exam. If clause and result clause. In other way, if we say main clause. So if clause, result clause, these are 2 sentences. Right now, let me explain. If clause is the event or the situation that must happen in order for the other thing to happen. And the result or main clause can only happen if the if clause occurs. If there is no if clause, it is not conditional sentence, you know? That's why it's called a conditional sentence. So, I'm going to explain conditional sentence in a very easy way. Everybody thinks it's very difficult grammar structure, but it is not. Let me see, next slide. So conditional sentences explain the first, what actually happens, and second, what could happen, possible or likely outcome in the future, you know, and the third, what we wish would happen. Just see, imagining different outcome for present situation. And the last one, what might have happened, thinking about different outcome that happened in the past. Go on. There are 4 types of conditional. let me explain you all 4 types of conditionals. The first, if I study hard, I pass the exam. If I study hard, I will pass the exam. If I studied hard, I would pass the exam. If I had studied hard, I would have passed the exam. Can you see all these 4 sentences? Just look at red verbs and blue verbs. This is main difference between these conditional sentences. What do you think? How many conditionals are there? As I said, 4 types of conditionals. Okay, let's check out the verbs. Study, pass, study, will pass, studied, would pass, and had studied, would have passed. Right. You have already noticed there are conditional 0, conditional first, conditional second, and third. There are some difference between what? Of course, verbs. If clause verbs and main clause sentence verbs. It's very easy. Right. The first one is 0 conditional. 0 conditional is talked about habits, facts, and truths. If I study hard, I pass the exam. Let me explain in Mongolian. Хэрвээ би хичээл сурвал шалгалтаа өгчихнө. It's true. So, sentence structure is like this. If plus present simple and the main verb is verb in present simple tense. Right. Study, present simple, and pass, blue, verb is in present simple. So, present simple, it's easy. We can't argue about these things, you know. I study hard and I pass exam. It's true. Good. So, for example, if you put ice in your drink, it melts. Do you agree? Yes, absolutely, it's true. Just try to put some ice in your drink. It melts in few seconds. Right. So now, it's your turn. Just finish the sentence. If I eat, what tense is used in conditional 0? I said it's present simple and present simple. Just try to finish and write in your notebook. Let's go on. The next is first conditional. Right. First conditional to talk about, we use it in possible and likely future outcomes. The example sentence is, if I study hard, I will pass the exam. It's a little different from 0 conditional. You see, what is it? The difference between 0 and this one. Can you find? Of course, it is will. So, the sentence structure is like, if plus present simple and main sentence is will plus verb infinitive. Just differences in result sentence. It's possible in the future, if I study hard, it probably pass the exam. Right? The difference is just it. For example, if Tom touches the iron, he'll burn himself. Do you think that Tom touches the iron? I don't think. Maybe he won't. He won't touch the iron because it's hot, he knows. So it is the difference between 0 conditional. Right? Now it's your turn. If you work hard, what will you do? Just finish your sentence. Let's go on. Next is we use second conditional to talk about. Imagine that the present situation is different, and it gives some advice. Let me see the sentence. If I studied hard, I would pass the exam. Just look at the red verb and the blue verb. There is some little difference. If plus past simple, right, its tense is changed into past, and would plus verb infinitive. It's not really hypothetical situation, just imagining. I'm imagining, but I don't study hard. It's if I studied hard, just imagine, right? And I would pass the exam. Maybe I can't study hard. So it's in would pass the exam. Maybe I can't pass the exam because maybe I can't study hard. Just imagining. For example, if I heard the fire alarm, I'd run outside. If it's true, I would go outside, but it's unreal situation. So now it's your turn to finish your sentence. If you had a lot of money, can you finish the sentence? The last one is third conditional to talk about. Imagine a different past and different to the one that actually happened, or you can regret, or you can talk about criticism. So, if I had studied hard, I would have passed the exam. For if plus past perfect would have plus past participle. It's not happened, just imagining the result if the past was different. But I hadn't studied. I didn't study, I didn't pass the exam. I'm just imagining, but everything is over. For example, if she hadn't hurt her wrist, she could have played tennis. But she had hurt her wrist. Can't play the tennis now. Just imagining. So now it's your turn. If he had had time, your idea, just write down your answers. In homework, students send that they use all conditionals. You can find every conditional sentences from these ones. Also in Hank text, you have just read, there are all conditional sentences. Now let's study the examples. Can you see how many first, second, and third conditional sentences are there? You can now find the difference. It's easy for you. Now it's time for homework. You just think of your own hero and brainstorm ideas and write a paragraph about him or her. Do self-check tasks. That's for all today. Before finishing this class, don't forget wash your hands and don't forget you wear your mask when you go outside. So see you next time.